this cross leg position. You might feel a bit tightness in your hips, so just admit how you feel right now, how you feel in your ankles and knees, how you feel in your lower back to sit in the cross leg position. Maybe you have your own personal intention for this practice. You can think of a word or phrase to keep it in mind through their practice. And from here, I will invite you to open your eyes if you had eyes closed, and let's just extend the legs. You can just keep them in front of you and go a couple of circles with the ankles. Go same direction or the opposite direction with your ankles. And then you can have a left knee bent, but you can have a left leg straight as well. And just grabbing the right thigh and go into a couple of knee bend and just feel how that stretches your hamstrings. So a couple of knee bends and change the leg and go with the other leg, also feeling maybe a little bit of the hamstring stretch here. And then we'll come into the wide position, like a squat position with the shins parallel, with the feet flexed, and let us go into 90-90 moves, just a couple of times, just to activate the hip, lubricate the hip joints, maybe 5 times to each side. You might find that you're moving forward, so adjust yourself, but if you are on the back of your mat, you just move into the front of the mat. And finishing the last one to the both directions, you would just cross the ankles and press yourself forward into the tabletop position. So as usual, have the blocks in front of your mat, the mini band in front of your mat as well. And as you set yourself into the tabletop position, let's go into a couple of cat and dog stretch to activate the spine. And also maybe it's a first movement, it's a first extension and flexion of your spine today. Or if you are practicing with recordings, maybe it's the end of the day and you feel a little bit tight and stiff in your spine. So just very slowly try to go through all sections of the spine, each vertebrae, to get the ability of the spine to move free. And here we'll just come into the neutral position, taking the knees wide, dropping the hips back. So here you are maybe moving from side to side, finding how you can press your hips back and down, and then stretch your arms forward, bringing the forehead down to the floor. Be active in this child pose, walking fingers forward. Again, you might feel like you want to move the chest from side to side as well, so opening the shoulders a little bit. Take another exhale here. Try to keep your pointed toes so you will feel some stretch. Some of you might feel a stretching in the top of your feet and your ankles. Take in another exhale here, and then just walk your hands closer. Bring your knees together, and then let's tag the toes. Tag the toes and then start lifting the torso. So you're sitting on your heels, feeling some stretch on the feet. And let's take the arms up, bring the right arm under the left, bring the palms together, and then press the elbows down. And just feeling some stretch around your left shoulder. Hold here for another exhale, And then just release your toes. I know you want to do that. Tap your toes. Maybe even shake your legs, stretch them back, and then tap the toes again. And again, just stretch a little bit your toes, stretch a little bit your feet. Take your arms up, and this time bring the left under the right. Press the elbows down, and you feel stretch around your right shoulder. So try to keep yourself up straight as much as is possible. You might not feel very comfortable in this position. Just hold for 2 more exhales here. And then let's release. Again, bring the hands down and tap your toes. Maybe again, shake your legs. And from here, we're going to step the right foot forward. On this point, you can use your blocks. And let's move the hips forward, creating some stretchy feeling on the front of the left thigh. At the same time, you move your knee as much forward, so you compress in the ankle. You're also in a maximum compression of your knee, so be careful what your knee accepts here. Take another exhale, and then let's move the blocks into the high position. Tuck your left toes and lift your hips, bring your front knee straight, and try to press the right heel down. So you will feel the stretch in the right calf and the right hamstring, but also in the left calf and left hamstring. So just use your blocks here for support. Continue to press the left heel down as much as you can. Taking another exhale, and then bend the right knee and drop the left knee down to the floor again. So still having the left hand on the block for support. Bring the right hand to your right knee and twist to the right. So slightly opening the chest to the right. Just be careful. Here's the first intense twist of the spine. So just feel how the spine responds to this position. You at the same time pressing the left hip forward. Continue to work here on the stretch. And then release the blocks, bring the hands down to the floor, tuck the left toes, lift the left knee, and step the right leg back into the tabletop, into the downward dog position. Head between the arms, have your knees bent, and just continue to press the heels down. Achieve some stretching hamstrings and calves. Take another exhale here. Try to achieve the great traction of the spine, including the neck. So drop the head down, and then let's drop the knees down to the floor and step the left foot forward. Again, use your blocks here for support. If needed, move your left knee forward as much as you can. Feel stretch in the calf. Feel compression in the ankle, feel compression in the left knee, feel the stretch in the right hip flexor. So if you feel like you want to go pulses when we're starting those lunges, you're always welcome to do so. Then from here, we're gonna bring the blocks into the high and tuck the right toes. Maybe step in a little bit closer if you need. Bring the front knee straight and continue to press the right heel down to the floor, so you feel stretch on the back leg and a bit of a stretch on the front. So working here, taking exhale, and then let's press the right knee down to the floor again. Enter the low lunge. Have a right hand on the block. Bring the left hand to the thigh and gently twist to the left. Work just what the ability of the spine to twist on the other side while you're pressing the right hip forward. Taking exhale, and then we'll bring the blocks down and tuck the toes and step into the downward dog. Exhale, hold here your downward dog. You can have your knees as bent as it needed. Most important in downward dog is to maintain the elongation of the spine, trying not to have their flexion in the lower back. Then look forward and flow into the plank. Have a plank for 3 breaths trying to resist the gravity, using the strength of the abdomen muscles, using the strength of the shoulders and arms to support, and then drop the knees and come all the way down. Exhale. And let us, you're gonna bend the right knee, you're gonna bend the left knee so you see it here. And I would like to bring the block under the left knee. So you're basically coming into the half frog position, okay? You can watch me on the screen before you go, because you would like to be with the forehead down. So you're flexing at the foot, and all what we're gonna do, we're gonna lift the knee, internally rotate the hip, we're gonna hold a little bit, and then release. We're gonna do it 10 times, okay? So lifting the heel at 90 degrees and dropping down, okay? If you got it, just come on your belly and work 10 times, lifting the left, sorry, for you it's a right heel, lifting that and internally rotate the hip. Notice how your other hip will feel some sensations as well. So yeah, the internal rotation of the hip, but it's a very important movement. So going for 10 moves. Lift the heel only till it feels right for you. And I'm pretty sure we already did the 10. And then you're gonna just release this first leg that you worked and bring the block under the other knee. Bend the knee 90 degrees into what calls half frog. Flex your foot and work the same way with the other leg. So internally rotate and notice how your other hip that is just on the floor also reflects, right? So through the sacrum, through this backbone and the hip, we are also influencing on the other hip while we're doing this internal rotation. So a bit of the controlled mobility of the hip. So probably you have 1 or 2 to complete the 10, and then just bring the right or left leg, whatever you started back, and just allow yourself to rest here a little bit. And then bring your hands on the sides of the rib cage, and then move into the child pose, taking knees wide, bring the forehead down, inhale. We're gonna go into the flow on the floor. So you're gonna look forward, and on inhale, you slide your forearms forward, bringing the belly down so you are in the Sphinx pose. Engage your legs and lift the chest, but feel like you're pulling yourself forward here rather than jamming your lower back. Then maybe release the back bend, bring the hands on the sides of the ribcage just for comfort, and press the hips again back into the child pose, but be active with this child pose. Bring the forehead down, walk your hands forward. On next inhale, we'll go again. So moving your forearms into the Sphinx pose, having strong legs, lifting yourself. If you find you want to go a little bit higher, you're welcome to lift your elbows off the floor, increase the extension of the spine, and then come down, bring the hands on the sides of the rib cage, and press yourself again into the child pose. Bring the forehead down, exhale. Let's do it again. Inhale, slide your forearms down, pointed toes. Again, you might come into the high position. Inhale, then come down, hands on the sides of the rib cage, and this time you tuck your toes and find yourself into the downward dog. Exhale. Set your arms on the sides of the ears, elongate through the spine, take exhale, and then bring the left foot a little bit closer to the midline and step the right foot forward into lunge. Pick up your 2 blocks and lift the torso a little bit high, and then just have just the tip of the fingers touching. Have a little bit of a space between your right thigh and your rib cage. Press the left heel down, use the back leg for support, and then let's bring the arms on both sides of the ear. So a little bit of a core activation here. Strong legs, hold for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and let us step into plank from here. Hold the plank for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Drop the knees, come all the way down, exhale. Here come to your favorite position of the cobra, or maybe upward dog. Strong legs, hands on the sides of the rib cage, elbows tucked to the rib cage, and then tuck your toes. Exhale into the downward dog. Take another exhale in downward dog, and when you're ready, have your right foot step into the midline of the mat and step in the left foot forward. So having the blocks first, as it helps you to lift your torso and have here some support to activate both legs and lift the belly from the thigh. When you're ready, take your arms on both sides of the head, holding for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's again step into plank. Hold the plank for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Lower yourself down to the belly. Point the toes. Inhale, come into the cobra. Make sure shoulders are not lifted to your ears. And then tuck your toes. Exhale, come into the downward dog. Hold the downward dog for 3 exhales. That's 2. And then look forward, walk or step to the front of the mat. Have a couple of moments here, hanging, head down, shake the head, make sure the body weight distributed equally on your feet, so you're not just on your heels, sending the hips back. You feel like you're moving forward, and then slowly vertebra by vertebra come up into the standing position. Exhale. So we are on the top of the mat. We're going to go to the first part of the sun salutation. So we'll just go into the fold forward and coming up. I'm going to do 3 times. So let's, with inhale, lift the arms up. Hinging from the hips, folding forward. Exhale, dropping the head. Then bring the hands below the knees or on the knees if you need, maintaining neutral spine. And then from here, press the feet to the floor, unfold with a straight spine into standing. Exhale, bring the arms on the sides of the hips. Let's do it again. Inhale. Exhale, folding forward, passive fold. Drop the head, relax arms. Bring the hands on the shins. Lift the chest halfway. Take another inhale, and then with exhale, unfold up into standing. Exhale, bring the arms on the sides of the hips. Last time like that. Inhale. Exhale, folding forward. Taking another exhale and an inhale, lift the chest halfway into the hip hinge. And on next inhale, unfold all the way up. Exhale, bring the arms on both sides of the hips. Let's step the left foot back and place the block inside the right foot. Practice in triangle here. So let us play a little bit with the hips to find that the right thigh pointed to the front, finding your right hip crease, and just moving the left hip in, bring the left hand to your lower back to maintain the neutral position, and then just extend the right hand down to the block, touching just with the tip of the fingers. And when you're ready, take your left arm up into triangle. So think of the string that attached to the crown of the head that pulls you forward, and press the left hip to the opposite direction. You want to have your spine absolutely parallel to the floor. You don't want to have it flexed here. And then bend your right knee. Bring the left hand to your lower back. And go into a couple of steps with the left foot further back. So you have a little bit wider lunge. But make sure that the front knee is still 90 degrees. This time you can bring the right hand flat to the block. Have a little bit more support. And again, take your left arm up. So you feel more stretch in your inner thighs here. A little bit more opening in the hips. Taking another exhale, and then bring the left hand down to the floor. Hold your block with the right hand and bring your front knee straight. Let us adjust the stance a little bit narrow again for the triangle on the other side. Turn the left foot out, right foot in. Bring the block inside the left foot. Allow the right hip to rotate forward from the hip hinge. Just fold, lightly touching the block with the left hand and taking the right arm up when you're ready. If you prefer to have the right hand on your lower back, that's also an option. So keep chest open, and again, think of the crown of the head pulled forward when the right hip pulled back. So you want to have your spine parallel to the floor as much as possible and to the length here. Then let's bend the front knee, and again we're going to go a couple of steps with the right foot to widen the stance, having the left hand on the block and taking the right arm up. So extended triangle with a knee bend, and you don't want to have your right hip to come too high toward the ceiling. Drop the right hip. Feel a little bit stretch in your inner thigh here. Taking another exhale. Then release the right hand, pick up the block, bring your front knee straight. So you're in a pretty wide position here. Adjust if you need a little bit, but don't go too close. Turn your toes in, and then let us fold forward passively. You're welcome to use the block to let your elbows be supported here. Drop the head. So there are two positions that we practice, the triangle and extended triangle. Where the asymmetrical pose, so just letting the hips to feel, again, symmetry here. And then bring your hands to the blocks and lift the torso up. You would like to have your block under the chest, so you feel like you're moving forward a little bit with your shoulders. Have a left hand on the block and take the right hand to your lower back to start with. Rotate with the right shoulder back, lengthening through the spine. And if you feel it's working for you, you can take the right arm up. If you're finding that your right shoulder is really folded forward and you look something like that, it's better to have the hand on the lower back and work more into lengthening through thoracic spine and twist. Avoid lifting the arm. And then unfold back. Set yourself here on the center. Lengthen forward, so let your spine rest. And then have a right hand on the block. Bring the left hand to your lower back and start twisting. Again, if you find that your left shoulder really pointed down to the floor, you should avoid the lifting the arm. But if you feel you can lift the arm and keep this external rotation of the left shoulder, you can try to lift the arm. So it's up to you. You know your body. You don't want to feel too extensive discomfort in your left shoulder. Release the body forward again, and let's go into another passive one. And see, even this passive one, you can progress a little bit lower. Maybe now not your elbows, but your forehead might be reaching the block, and you can rest here, very passive. And then let's lift the chest again. And this time we're gonna take the heels in. So now the toes are wider than the heels, and we're gonna come into squat. So let us drop the hips and maintain neutral spine here. And you can have your arms in front, and we're gonna go into a couple of bouncing here. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1, and come all the way up and just have a rest. Let us have a left heel on the floor and lift your right heel. You might feel that you want to step a little bit narrower, so just go ahead. Lift your right heel, and let us try to go into internal and external rotation. So my mat is not very slippery, so it's a little bit challenging for me, but I want you to understand internal rotation of the hip, external rotation. So here is all facing front. And then internal, you kind of moving your hips toward the left while you're trying to keep your shoulders facing the front. And again, external, okay? So notice how your ankle, knee is just a hinge between ankle and the hip are moving. One more time, bring in the internal rotation and external. Of course, your left leg working hard to support, and then just rest here. Okay, let us go to the other side. So come into squat. You adjusting the stance, whatever working for you. Lift your left heel, and let's move on the toes. Internal and external. Internal and external. 2, 3, 4, 5, and of course your right leg is working hard, and come up and go toes, heels, and shake your legs. Okay, so now we will need the block, and there's mini band. So you placing the mini band around your ankles, and you have a block just close to the right foot. And here you will be focusing on stabilizing your left side while the right leg will be working. So I'll just show you. You're gonna just stretch the foot to go around the block. Okay, and I want you to go 10 times on your own. So make sure that you're not doing this way, not collapsing to the left when you go. I want you to stay as straight as possible. You're working on stabilization of the left hip while the right hip is working on mobility with some tension. Very good. I see some of you are doing well. My block is falling all the time. So you might find that you can go higher. No, higher you can't. So you just maybe band should be a little bit higher for me. So then I'm not going to be touching the block. Yeah, that's it. It's working. So it's probably on the center, on the middle of your shin. Then it's working. Okay, and go. So I hope you're close to 10 moves with the right leg. And we're going to go into the left. So moving the block to the other side. Standing straight and moving the leg around. 1, I'm going to count for this one. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 3 more. 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, we definitely did less on the right leg. So just walk into the hip and take the block away and just stand with your feet parallel. Have a little bit of the tension on the lateral side of your hips. Maintain the neutral position here and just let your hips rest a little bit, catch your breath, and then bring the body weight to the right foot and lift your left leg off the floor. You don't need to stretch tremendously. Just hold here. You're going to take your arms overhead. Hold for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Release the arms, bring the legs together, let your hips rest, move the hips a little bit. And then bring the body weight to the left leg. Just lift the right foot and slightly stretch the strap. Take your arms overhead, hold for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and release. So let us take the band in a little bit different position. So now you have your band around the foot and you stepping with the left foot and lifting the right leg up and just pulsing the knee up for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And let us rest. Step from one hip to another. Release the hips a little bit. And then when you're ready, bring the body weight to the right foot. Lift your left leg and pulse it up for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. And let us release. The last one in this series will bring the band again around the ankle a little bit higher if you find that this is better for you. Have your right knee a bit on the soft position. That's going to be easy for you to maintain the balance and extend the left leg, left heel back. Keep the knee straight, so don't bend the left knee and just pulse the leg back. Use your glutes. This is 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Again, just step, relax your hips a little bit, move the hips, and bring the body weight to the left leg. Extend the right leg, have his left knee soft. That's going to keep the balance here. And press the heel back, straight knee. So make sure you're not doing this. Not bending the knee, it's the whole leg. That's probably already like 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Great. Pretty sure you want to get rid of this band. Take it away. Shake your legs. And let us come to the front of the mat with a couple of flows. And just notice how, like, we worked on stability of the hips, but how your hips became more open, and you're gonna feel some increase of mobility after this load exercises. Let's with inhale lift the arms up. Exhale, folding forward into the passive fold. Bring the hands on the shins, lift the chest halfway. And then step back with your left foot and try for this one. Go to little bit wider. So go into little bit wider stance. Keeping the knee 90 degree. Lift the torso up. Maintain the neutral as much as possible here with engaged core muscles. Lift your arms up. Hold the warrior one. 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Release the arms. Drop the left heel and rotate into warrior 2. And in the warrior 2, try to go a little bit wider. Slide your left heel wider. Okay? Make sure the right knee 90 degree. Take your arms in 2 directions and bring your gaze to the front. Continue to press the right knee forward while you're pressing the outer edge of the left foot to the mat. Hold for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Go with a huge circle with the left arm and step into plank as you were quite wide, I hope. Then drop the knees and come all the way down. Exhale. Let's have the feet a little bit apart. Lift your legs off the floor. Lift your chest off the floor. And then lift your palms off the floor. Neck is neutral. Hold for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Bring the feet down. Tuck the toes. Exhale into the downward dog. Head between the arms. Long spine. Bring the right foot a little bit closer to the midline and step your left foot forward. And again, try to go in a little bit wider than you usually go in your warrior 1. Keep the front knee 90 degree. Lift the torso up. Use the back leg for support. When you're ready, lift the arms up into warrior 1. Hold. 4, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Bring the hands on the floor and step into plank. Exhale. Drop the knees down to the floor. Find your well down. Hands on the sides of the ribcage. Let's practice the same one. Lift your legs off the floor. Lift your chest off the floor. Lift your palms off the floor. Forearms perpendicular to the mat. Hold for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Bring the hands down, bring the feet down and slide into the downward dog. Exhale here, shake your head. We didn't do the warrior 2 on this side, so we will need to step the right foot back to the midline and step the left foot forward. Drop the right heel and allow yourself to go a little bit wider here. And then when you're ready, take your arms to the both sides of the body. Press the left knee forward, have a back leg supported. Make sure you're not collapsing forward. Maintain shoulders above the hips. Hold for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Make a huge circle with the right arm. Step into downward dog. Exhale. On next exhale, bring the feet to the midline of the mat. Lift your right leg up and open the right hip. Even bring the body weight to the left hand as much as possible. Send your knee up toward the ceiling. Feel a little bit stretch in the inner thigh. And then on the next exhale, step your right foot outside of the right hand. Bring your hands onto the chest. Turn your right foot out. And here you're welcome to use the blocks. If you need, bring your forearm to the block, drop your left hip, and then turn the right foot to the outer edge. But as you're turning, make sure that your foot remain into 90 degree support. And you have external rotation of the right hip while stressing the left hip down. Just drop the head and hold here. Then we'll lift the chest up and we're gonna walk the right foot toward the left edge of the mat for pigeon pose. So walk it down and then drop the right hip down. Adjust the front foot to be 90-degree, and then probably most of you will need to lift your right hip and place the block under the right hip. I would like you to maintain the lower back straight forward. So you align the chest and hips toward the edge of the mat, and then if you feel it's working for you, you can bring the forehead down to the hands, and we will be holding this position for 2 minutes. Very slowly lift your chest off the floor. Have a moment here in the high position, and then tuck the toes and release the right leg to go into downward dog. In a downward dog, you maybe want to move your hips from side to side. Go ahead. Just to allow yourself to release a little bit the right hip here. And then bring the right foot to the midline and lift your left leg up. Bend the knee, open the knee up. Feel some stretch on the front of the left hip. And then step the left foot outside of the left palm. Drop the right knee down to the floor. Have the block or two even under the forearms. Turn the right foot out. So make sure your 90-degree foot here, knees opening to the side. So find external rotation of the hip and just hold here while you pressing the right knee forward. So have some stretchy sensation on the right thigh and right hip flexor. Then we'll come off the support of the hands, and we will start walking the left foot toward the right edge of the mat, dropping the left knee down, and probably most of you will need the block under the left hip to maintain your pelvis facing square to the front. And when you're ready, you might go a little bit lower and hold here for 2 minutes as well. And then very slowly bring your hands on the side of the left knee and release your hip again. Go to the downward dog and just play with the hips a little bit and let them move. And then just hold the downward dog, as maybe some of you had a little bit of the angled hip position, so we would like to let the spine to receive the traction, to return back to alignment here. And then let's drop the knees down to the floor and come into seated position. With the left leg extended on the right knee bend, I would suggest you have a block handy here to support the right hip, so you are able to align your hips to your left foot, so you don't feel that your left hip is in front of the right. It's like you're making your left leg a little bit shorter. Bring your hands to the sides of the left knee, flex your left foot, and then just come into fold. Don't go to intense fold. Start with a more passive fold here with a rounded spine today. But keep your left foot actively flexed so you feel hamstring stretch. So working a little bit on the flexibility of the muscles that attach to the hip, because tight hamstrings very often is the restrictions for some hip flexibility and mobility. So we already addressed the IT band in pigeon pose. We addressed some inner thigh stretch in the warriors. And here you just want to work a little bit more on the hamstring. As well as you might feel some tension around the lower back, even mid back. So just try to work with your breathing to release the tension. Hold that for 5 more breaths. Let's very slowly unfold and we'll change. Extend your right leg, bend your left knee. I suggest you have the block. So we know that the knee is the hinge. You have your left foot flexed and then you're opening the hip. So this movement starts from the hip and you're just having the ankle down on the floor. Pull your right leg into the right hip socket so you're maintaining the hip square. And then bring the hands on the sides of the right knee. Drop the head down, creating the stretch on the back of the leg, keeping the foot flexed, dropping the head down. Here, another 5 breaths. And then very slowly coming up. So for next one, I would like you to sit on the block, just on the front edge of the block, and set your feet into Baddha Konasana, but with the heels together, toes apart. So your knees will be quite high, and you try to bring your heels as close as possible, holding your ankle. And before we're going to go into the fold, you want to create a length in the spine. And then using a little bit of the bicep strength, you're pulling yourself forward. So you're not dropping your head down. You think of going with the chest forward. So this stretch is mostly for the lower back, right? So your hips are open and you're pulling yourself forward. You can hold your big toes if it's more comfortable for you, pressing elbows into the inner thigh and just pull yourself forward. Close your eyes. While you do put some effort into this pull, you still don't want to be tense, okay? And then let us release this position. We will take the block away, and this time you can open your feet like a book here. So your ankle might be a little bit collapsed, but not too much. And this time you just move your elbows in front of your knees, and you're just hugging your toes and dropping the head passively. So a very different fold. This time you all rounded spine, and you're still working on the lower back, but you don't feel so much intensity in the lower back. You feel much more intensity on the stretch for the inner thigh and probably your mid back here. And then let us come all the way up, and we'll get the right knee in. So we're coming to the deer leg pose. So the left toe touching the right knee. Your ankles are in something comfortable. They can be pointed, right? And then we will rotate to the left. You might need to use the block or bolsters here, and we'll just fold to the left. Probably most of us will feel more comfortable if the face turned to the right. So very, very passive twist here. You feel most of sensation in your left hip, actually, also into this twisted sensation of the soft tissues of the torso. So don't be intense here. Find something that you do feel the stretch, but this is something that you can hold 5 minutes. We're not going to be holding 5 minutes, but I'm just giving you the reference. So you can be here for quite long. We'll be holding just for 2 minutes here, and probably we're already here for like a half a minute. So let us just relax the elbows. Taking 5 more exhales. Then using your hands, lift your torso off the blocks. Allow your hips and legs and spine to rest. So bring the legs to the front, shake them a little bit, allow your spine to rest before we go to the other side. So when you're ready, have your right toe touching the left knee, bring the block to the other side, and then find there's a bit of a rotation till you feel some stretchy sensation in the right hip. Bring the forehead down and hold here for 2 minutes. You might feel some sensation in the left hip as well if your hips are not very comfortable in internal rotation. So always adjust. So it shouldn't be painful. You should feel sensation, but you can hold that for the long time. So let's have here 5 exhales. And then just to lift the torso up again. Allow yourself to rest here with the straight legs. Shake them a couple of moments. And then having a block handy, you will come into the back position with the lifted hips. Here. Making sure the block aligned with your sacrum, so the edge of the block is aligned with the top of a triangle bone, and we're just allowing the lower back to rest. So we were in a twisted position. We're now creating some traction for the lower back. And take your arms to the side, and we'll just have here a minute or so. We're just letting the spine to rest from the last twist that we had. Also in pigeon pose, you might be a little bit twisted here, so we want again to create alignment in the spine that normal, we'll call it. And you're slowly preparing yourself for the final relaxation. You're calming your mind. You using this hold form, finding their steady breathing, but very light without force of any pattern here. And let's lift the hips and move the block away. Bring the hips down. Before we go into Shavasana, go one knee at a time into slightly flexed position for the spine. Release it. Rock from side to side, and lift the legs and arms into the air. Shake them. So feel how their hip bones are moving with their soft muscles in the hip sockets. Also feel a little bit of your ankles here. Then just drop the legs and arms down to the floor for your final Shavasana. Make sure that you support the back of your head with a couple of layers of folded blanket if you're finding that your head is falling too low and you are uncomfortable. Maybe squeezing the shoulder blades just a bit to open the front of the shoulders. Have your arms away. If you're touching any props, move them away. And let us exhale first to allow their body be relaxed on the mat. Allowing yourself a couple of minutes here of complete stillness. And it's not just the physical stillness of your body. I would invite you to try to avoid the discussions with yourself, planning what you do next minute after the end of the practice. Stay very present into this moment of relaxation. Gentle moves will return, and fingers and toes, knees and elbows. Take your time to start moving slowly, going one knee at a time toward the chest till you're ready to roll on one side. No rush, take your time till you come into seated position. And as you come into the seated cross-leg position, just play with your ankles a little bit and see how your hips respond to that position to comparison to the beginning of the practice. Maybe use the hands behind the hips to lift the seat bones and let them plant it again. Have your hands against the knees and lengthen through the spine, and then bring the hands in front of the heart. Thank yourself for being able to roll out the mat and practice. Challenge your body and challenge your mind through maybe some movements that your body is not really loving a lot, but you definitely worked on some release of one of the tight spots in the body, and you might feel that your mental state today will be in a different. Thank yourself and take the positive vibe from this practice to be your guide for the rest of the day. Namaste.